Welcome to the Backpacking Podcast, brought to you by Outdoor Vitals. With me today, as always, is Jeremiah Stringer, the king of Kentucky backpacking. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be back on here. But Jeremiah, I got to be honest with you, if you can't tell by a little bit of the rasp in my voice, I'm not completely healed up from the sickness.
Yeah, man, we missed you last week. I had Jamie on here, Jamie McCracken. If anybody
Great job, by the way. Great job with Jamie, man. You guys did awesome.
He is very easy to talk to. He's done content production for years and years. If y'all missed the episode, he worked at TMZ in Los Angeles for a while.
And he's an elite athlete.
Elite athlete. He's so humble. We didn't even talk much about it on the show, but dude, whenever we were at the meetup, he reminds me of Miyagi on the trail. He'll just he could leave you behind and then show back up anytime because he could do 4 times the miles that you do. That hike that I told the story on, the Fiery Gizzard, he would just,
oh my
God,
gosh.
I bet he could do it twice in one day, man. He's a beast. But yeah, he also works for Dave Ramsey doing content production. So we got us a little bit of the inside look on what it looks like doing it professionally.
Can you possibly consider 2 more polar opposite organizations? TMZ, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah,
they just, one of these things is not like the other.
That's right, dude. And living in Los Angeles versus Nashville, Tennessee, totally different.
Right.
Different groups. I know both cities, so you get a mix of cultures, but just generally speaking, different worlds, man.
Different worlds. But hey, speaking of different worlds, Outdoor Vitals has created a different world when it comes to their clothing lines. They have actually come out with a great new clothing line called the Mountain Pursuit line. And I'm going to be honest with you, Jeremiah, I have become a huge fan of the Mountain Pursuit line, and specifically the Altura pants. You and I were actually talking about these just before we got online. These things are fantastic. It's not often you have a pair of backpacking or hiking pants that you can wear every day because they're so comfortable and they actually look good.
Well, I couldn't agree more, man. The first thing I done was try those on, because we got our packages in the mail of the whole Mountain Pursuit line. So we'll be unpacking them in the future, but we decided to highlight a couple of them today. I wanted to talk about the hybrid, the Pursuit Hybrid fleece. And it basically has I guess this is alpha, the material, but some part of it is grid and some of it is like the alpha fleece. And I have been living in mine, dude. Absolutely love it. It's so warm. I love it so much. We're going to figure out how good it is at washing because I've been living in it, so I've got stains on it.
Already?
Yeah,
already.
Wearing it around the house, wearing it to work, wearing it out. It's so warm. It works perfect, dude. And they pick the perfect spots to put the extra installation. So shout out OutdoorVitals.com, makers of Performance First Ultralight gear, and check out the Pursuit Hybrid fleece and the Altura pants.
Yeah, and again, if you want to check out Outdoor Vitals, make sure you go on over to OutdoorVitals.com and check them out and let them know we sent you. Because, hey, we're all about some Outdoor Vitals. Jeremiah, let's get into some conversations here because we were talking before we got on here, and there's some things on here that could be quite controversial and could be a lot of fun for me to tick people off about. So let's go ahead and hit it hard, man.
Okay, where do you want to start, bro?
I say let's just go right up with this thing with the national parks. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. We're gonna attack this issue, I guess. So basically, the headline is that there's increases to entry fees, which we've been harping on for a little while here on the Backpacking Podcast. On basically, there was government shutdown because they hadn't approved the budget, and then people were just entering these parks for free when before you had to pay, and then the government's no longer shut down, so now you have to pay, or you can get like an annual pass if you want to. And so I read the headline, and I was like, what? They're increasing the price of these passes? Very misleading. They got me. They wrote the article. They put a headline to make me click, and then I actually read the article, and guess what? It's not really applicable to me. Not saying that it doesn't have consequences for me.
Right.
But why don't you fill everybody in being a U.S. resident?
So basically what they're doing is they're putting up surcharges, and they're raising the prices for fees for people who are not residents of the U.S. 11 national parks specifically: Acadia, Bryce Canyon, Everglades Glacier, Grand Canyon, Grand Teton, Rocky Mountain, Sequoia, and Kings Canyon, Yellowstone, Yosemite, and Zion are all going to implement a brand new $100 surcharge for non-U.S. residents. This is not for people who live here in the U.S., and they're also raising the price of the America the Beautiful Pass for non-residents to $250 from $80. So there's a lot of mixed feelings on this. I mean, even I have some mixed feelings on this one.
Yeah. Do you think that it discourages tourism, or do you think that, you went to Disney, we talked a little bit about how much it cost, and I was way off on how much the tickets were and everything, and people will still go to Disney. Do you think that increasing it that amount for people that's going to fly over and check this out, or people that are living in the US on a visa and they want to check out, like there's 11 national parks that you listed there. Do you think it's really going to discourage tourism, or do you think it's more of one of those like, well, I'm already spending this much to come over here and do this or to check out this tourism? Kind of like, I was like, it's an extra $400 if we want on the Camino to like ship your backpack to the next hostel every day. I'm already paying X amount of dollars. What's another $200 or $300 or however much it is?
Right, right. Yeah, there's part of me wonders if this isn't more about controlling the number of people that are in the parks at a time.
Oh, you think they're getting overran sometimes by like loved a little bit too much by the tourism?
So a lot of these parks would I would say that for sure about Yellowstone, Yosemite especially. They really get crowded. The Grand Canyon can get pretty crowded. So I wonder if that doesn't play into it just a little bit to bring down some of the overcrowding, because that has been a complaint. That's been a consistent complaint for about 5 to 10 years now. That there's just too many people crowding these places. Getting a parking spot is nearly impossible. You're in lines forever to go see things. I wonder if that's part of it. I don't know. Might not
I
be.
wonder, is there some kind of math equation that you're like, well, speculating a little bit on what you're describing? Is there a math equation that says if we jack up the prices on these non-residents, which drives down traffic from the non-residents, then it all kind of equals out to where it's the same amount of income or comparable, but with less traffic?
Well, when you think, $250 for that pass, that's what, 3 times the cost?
Yeah, 80 to 250, over 3 times the cost.
So if they sell 1/3 of those, they're making the same money.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it might net even more money. I don't know. You really have to actually do it, jack up those prices, and then record the data for a year or two, and then reflect on the data. Unfortunately, that would be the real world situation to
Right.
actually see. But now we just have to speculate. Do you think so? It goes in effect in January, so we're only a couple weeks away. Do you think that it holds out, or do you think that it changes before?
Man, I don't know. There's part of me that wonders if what we're not dealing with here is just a money grab. I don't know how else to put it. It's just a money grab. Like
Could be.
the big complaint that I hear from a lot of people that work in the forestry service is they don't have enough funds. There just aren't enough public funds.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I mean, I can't imagine that wouldn't play a little bit into it.
Well, the one thing that scares me is first it's the non-residents, and then there's only one person left, bro. It's them, and
It's the
then us.
residents. Well,
And
and you know who I feel sorry for the most, honestly?
who's that?
Canadians who live closer to some of those parks than I do.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
I didn't even
I
think that.
I feel for those folks who, quite honestly, they can get to those parks in just a few hours, where it's going to be like 20 to 30 hours of driving for me, but they're going to have to pay more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. For me to go visit any of those national parks that you listed is gonna be you're gonna have to fly out
It's a
there,
haul.
or it's gonna be multiple days of driving. You're gonna have the budget for it. It don't matter if you have the pass or not. So, somebody that's East Coast, that a lot of those are out west, and it's kind of a different world.
Yeah, we're going to different parks entirely. We're going to Smoky Mountains, like
Right.
those kinds of parks. And so we're not like the views are epic. Don't get me wrong. The views in the Smoky Mountains are epic, but we're not talking the same kind of epic that you're seeing uh, up in the Grand Tetons or the Grand Canyon or anything like that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering. I was reading about the fee schedules and like the free days that you can go. It's kind of like, I guess, kind of like fishing. There's like one day a year or one weekend a year that you can go and you don't have to have a fishing license. You can fish all you want. Apparently, I guess there's certain days of the year that you can get in for free. Because,
Right.
like I said, you can educate me on this because I don't know much about it because I'm not hitting these parks. But like President's Day, Memorial Day, Flag Day, Independence Day, 110th birthday of National Park Service, Constitution Day, Teddy Roosevelt's birthday, and Veterans Day. Are these so these are resident only patriotic fee free days? Does that basically mean that you have to have the pass to park to get your car in, but you don't have to pay per person? Because I read there's a surcharge for some people.
It says free entry is
Okay.
limited now to U.S. citizens.
Okay. So before, didn't matter who you were on those days, you could get in for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you still have to pay for like camping fees and tours and that kind of stuff, but it's just your entrance fee. So basically parking.
Okay. So if you're a non-resident though, it's $100 per person fee to enter those 11 most visited national parks. So that means you don't pay the $250.
Well, hold up a second. They're not the most visited because Smoky Mountain National Park is the most visited of all the national parks.
Yeah.
So
Well, it just says here 11 of the most visited. It
yeah,
don't say the
yeah,
11 most. So yeah, you're right. The
yeah.
grammar
I
does.
just want to make sure we say that because I know there are going to be people that are like hardcore Smoky Mountain people. They're going to be like, they're lying. They're a bunch of
Yeah.
hooligans that don't know what they're talking about. No, we know Smoky Mountain National Park is the most visited by far. So
Yeah. And we are hooligans that don't know what we're talking about. So
most of the time, and there's 10 days every year. It's almost one a month. You've got February, May, June, July, August, September, October, and November. So you're only missing January, March, and April
Mhm.
are the only days where you just don't see. I guess December's in there too. So well, because some of the like July, you've got the 3rd through the 5th. So you've got 3
January.
days, 3 days in July. The entire Independence Day weekend is free.
That
The rest of them are one day.
it'd be a cold time, man. January and December. I guess maybe if you're taking a Christmas trip or something, but those
Yeah, and it
aren't.
just depends on where they are too. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I really don't know how to feel about it. I don't have a strong opinion on it yet. I just kind of want to wait and be patient, let it develop and see what happens. I don't know if I should be fighting it or be for it. It's hard for me to decide. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm still trying to figure it out too. Um, it looks like they're trying to do more things for um in country American citizens when it comes to the national parks, which is who it's for technically. But at the same time, I don't want to have a friend come in from out of the country and they'll be like, "Hey, I really want to go see the Grand Canyon." And after 3 days, they're completely broke because it spent like a third of what their entire vacation budget was, or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so
That's true.
it's. I get it. I mean, it's kind of like if you go to Disney. If you live in Florida, the prices for Disney tickets is stupid cheap.
Yeah, as a Florida resident, you can get
Yeah.
like an annual pass. It's got blackout dates, but you can get an annual
Oh
pass. You
yeah.
can go like twice a week all the time.
Well, or even if you're just getting a single day ticket, you're paying a third of the price. I think you're paying like 35, 40, $50 or something like that for a ticket.
Wow.
Whereas outside Florida residents can't do that. And they're not transferable tickets, so you can't play the system. Because I've got Florida family, and I tried to play the system and we couldn't do it. So
That was
I
exactly
know
what
you can't do it.
my mind went straight to it, bro. I was like, how do I get those cheap tickets? Because we got family in Florida too. I guess everybody does.
Oh
Hey,
yeah. Yeah.
can't game the system. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see what happens. We really don't have much control over any of that. Only thing that we can do is shine a light on it by talking about it publicly here on this show and get other people, get conversations started and start thinking about it, not to be too serious, but that's really the only thing that you can do unless I guess you're a higher up that's helping make some of these decisions. I don't even know who these decisions are up to. Is there like a council or a panel or somebody that comes together for the National Park Service and decides this, or is it a federal branch of the
It's definitely a
government?
federal branch. It's a federal branch. So much so they've actually there are 2 days that they've waived this year, which is pretty controversial. I don't know if it was a good call on their part, but they're actually not waiving fees on Martin Luther King Jr. Day or Juneteenth like they have in the past. So,
Oh, you think that
um,
could be a dig? You think that we're the federal government has like majority Republican control that
yeah,
be digging at MLK Junior
yeah.
Day, Juneteenth. I don't know. That could be. That seems a little bit malicious, though. You would think that there would be
Well,
a
they,
spectrum of people
they're
like.
saying that New Day's celebrating Trump's birthday and the National Park Service anniversary were added. So I don't know, man.
I saw that it says Flag Day / President Trump's birthday. Do those coincide every year, or is that a new thing?
I don't know, man.
I
I
said,
don't know. Good night.
that gives me a chuckle, bro. And you
Oh
know,
my
I
gosh.
stay out of the politics of it, especially on the show, talking publicly here.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
it gives me a chuckle. I mean, you just ask yourself why. That's
I
that.
don't know.
I don't know.
I can't even get off work on my birthday, man. So like I don't understand how you get a whole like free parks day on your birthday. That's
I don't know.
wow.
That's it, but I would take advantage of that if
Yeah,
Trump could
hey.
say, "We'll let you in for free on my birthday." I'll say, "Thanks for your birthday gift here."
Well, and let's shoot straight. Isn't Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday in like isn't Martin Luther King Jr. Day like in February or January or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's the end of January, beginning of February. I can't remember. I'm a public school teacher, so we get these national holidays off, and I just know the fall semester is always a lot of breaks, but the spring semester is like
January 19th.
January. That's always my first Monday off.
And honestly, after what we were just saying about temperature and things like that, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not as many people are going to go in January, so maybe it was more for that.
Yeah,
Um,
you would think if there's not as much traffic, that date's gonna hurt you the least. I get that you're removing it, so it's gonna add a little bit more to the budget, but it's just one day. There can't be
right.
if you averaged it out 365 days, that one day, I would assume in January is minuscule. So whether you gave it or not, you're talking about 0.5% or something. Just speculating, of course.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that it's Trump's birthday. Like that I'm just
What a way to
wow.
celebrate. Great way to celebrate, by the way. What
Wow.
better place to go than the national parks here in the US? Wouldn't you agree?
I'm just thinking like you want to polarize half of your audience, say
Uh,
celebrate his birthday. So,
I know, it's polarizing.
Oh man, how about that? How
It
about that?
it's hard not to be polarizing by just literally referencing it,
Oh,
man.
I know. I know. And I want to say a big apology to our online viewers. We actually are recording this. We aren't live right now. Hit the wrong button. So if there were people waiting for a live stream on a Wednesday, I'm off my game a little, so please don't be offended.
Well,
Jeremiah,
we'll
let's
get to them. That's all right.
yeah. Let's move on a little bit. Because
All
we got
right.
another one that could be kind of controversial here. And that is the idea of trail cams and stalkers on through hikes. You
Oh
want to
my
lead into this a little bit?
yes, man. I'm a little bit worried about talking about this. I'm going to be honest. Um, I've been following. Oh my God, I'm so afraid to reference it. I've been following trail marshal hiking on Facebook, and it's not even on purpose. I think because I like a lot of posts and follow a lot of groups that are hiking and backpacking related on Facebook, because it's like literally my favorite hobby. So I guess that he just became part of my algorithm, and I don't know. He's got 78,000 followers on Facebook, so hopefully we don't get doxxed. We'll see here. But I saw one of his posts one time about basically his opinion on trail cameras being set up on trail, and basically his experience with interacting with a stalker or stalkers while on trail. So to set the stage, it's very common to set up trail cameras. Hey, people do it all the time: deer hunting, turkey hunting, etc. And There, you got the post pulled up. I can't see it. If you can zoom in, that'd be great. If you can't, that's okay too. But people set up these trail cameras all the time. I'll give you an example here. My father-in-law, whenever they go like run four-wheelers or side by sides, they'll put up a trail camera that's looking at their truck with the trailer because they actually had somebody to cut the lock off their trailer from their truck while they're out on four-wheelers. This is in Big South Fork, true story. Somebody cut the lock and then unhitched their trailer and then hitched it up to their vehicle and drove away. And they never saw that trailer again. So you're like, well, there goes $1,200. And how do we get the four wheelers home? So setting up trail cameras is no new thing. But I'll let you read the post there to give some context on
Now,
what
is
we're going to
this?
talk about.
I think this is the right one. Uh, no, I think this is the wrong post here. Hold up, hold up. We're gonna find it.
There was a
I don't
little
think
on there.
that's. I don't think that's the one.
Okay. Well, while you're looking for it, if you can find it, great. If you can't, then I'll kind of be a little bit more general about it. But
Yeah.
Trail Marshal Hiking, shout out to him for all the content that he's producing here on Facebook and really giving us points to really think about and talk about and unpack. So anyway, the gist of it is that when you're on the AT, a lot of people do content production, whether it's posting on Instagram or YouTube. I'm sure a ton of people listening have heard of Homemade Wanderlust. She became basically internet famous. We've talked to her on here. Lovely person, beautiful human being,
Yes, she is.
Dixie. Um, she would not post where she is, if I remember correctly, the same day she's there
Right.
because, well, probably multiple reasons. You don't want people doxing you in real life, let alone the internet. So you don't want people just showing up, especially if it's somebody dangerous. Maybe it's a super fan, etc. But a lot of people, it's very common for them to post 2 or 3 days behind. So you know, you'll be at location X, and then you'll post pictures about your experience 3 days ago when you were 40, 50 miles away from that location. Then nobody knows where you're at. You're kind of staying anonymous as you go. Well, apparently, some people have been getting stalked during their through hike so much that there's been charges brought against them. Um, and if we end up finding the article or the Facebook post where Trail Marshal Hiking's talking about it, we can read more. But basically, these stalkers are setting up trail cams to monitor the locations of through hikers. Now, we read, I can't remember. Do you remember where we were reading it? That there were people or organizations, I mean, rather, that are using them to monitor activity and
Wildlife. Yeah.
wildlife, of course, too, but monitoring the traffic that goes through there, like foot traffic on trail. It's not necessarily always nefarious or malicious intent with the trail cams. So you could see one set up, and it could be set up by the ATC, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, like an official trail cam. I'm not saying they actually use them. I don't know if they do or not, but I'm saying you could see one on a tree and it actually be an official, like, hey, we're using this to monitor the bear activity in the area. You know, it's
Right.
taking a picture every time there's motion. Or so don't just go cut them off trees. Don't hear this and be like, oh, there's definitely a stalker and he's trying to see where we're at. But yeah, I don't know how much substance there is to it. How isolated are these incidents when it comes to the stalking of the through hikers, whether it's AT or a different trail?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm reading through some of the stuff. There's I'm really not finding anything about the stalker stuff though. I'm wondering if that got taken down at some point.
Could have. Well, maybe we didn't talk about it soon enough. The old Facebook's algorithm caught it and snatched it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's in there. I don't see it, but I do know that several female through hikers that I've talked to over the years have had issues where um they've been on trail and they've gotten notifications that somebody wants to meet them and they're going to wait for them at a certain place. And they don't know who that person is, and it kind of makes things really shaky for those
That is
folks.
that is so creepy, dude. And I'll
Right.
tell you from experience, not creepy at all, but from experience, there is a certain intimidation factor of just the uncertainty of like you post this stuff online and people want to interact you and talk to you in person, and it's quite intimidating. Like, just for example, we done this YouTube meetup back in October, and when you show up, you really have no idea who you're going to meet, what they're going to be like, and what the environment's going to look like, and just how the vibes are. And you got to keep in mind, like, I'm taking my wife to this, so there's a certain, I don't know how you describe it, like a protective, a sense of protection that you feel whenever you're going to take somebody else with you into that. So I can totally get where that could be intimidating, but if I were trying to put my shoes or put my feet in somebody else's shoes, I'm a young lady and somebody is messaging me saying, "Hey, you're going to be at this road crossing the day after tomorrow. I'm going to hang out there so that, I really, really want to meet you." It may not be creepy, but it is intimidating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and honestly, for say if someone's like say if someone's hiking alone and somebody comes up on them, that's twice as intimidating as if you're with a tramley out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, at least you got somebody that's got your back if you're hiking with a group. But
Yeah.
honestly, dude, hiking with the group, here's what happens a lot of times. It just in my experience. I done the long trail, take a drink, and I done the Camino. And so
You immediately say take a drink. I appreciate that.
yeah, you're welcome. So just from experience, your trail hiking group, most of the time you don't hike together. It's kind of like one of those things where if you go backpacking with your buddies, you might spend 3 hours not talking to each other at all. You might be within earshot, you might not be. You might have somebody that's going to meet you at camp, but it's kind of like an ebb and flow in my experience of you're hiking your own hike, but at the same time you have like a common destination for the end of the night.
Right,
So
right.
there's power in numbers, but most of the time, unless you're just like hanging out, talking, passing time while you're walking, which happens occasionally as well, most of the time you're walking by yourself, doing your own really doing your own little hike, and you're hanging out at
Right.
camp.
Well,
So
I'll tell you personally, um, I had a YouTube subscriber and listener of the podcast named Jimi Hendrix. That's really his name, Jimi Hendrix. But he lives in Germany, and he's from the States, but he lives in Germany. He contacted me through Instagram and said, "Hey, I'm in Kentucky. Could I meet you for lunch?"
just out of the
And
blue.
just out of the blue. And I was like, huh. So I got a hold of my buddy, Benson, a friend of mine. And I said, "Hey, you want to go to lunch with me? Because I'm meeting some dude. I don't know who he is, but I'd like to have somebody else there just to be safe." And he's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we went and had lunch with him. Ended up being great. And he sends me Star Wars memes all the time. Great dude. But we ended up becoming friends through that, and it was great. But I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous. I didn't know who this guy was. Who's to say this guy's not some shady individual? There's just no way to know. So, for me personally, I know I made sure I had someone with me in that case. But there's another issue with the trail cams that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, hit me with it.
So I'm reading a post from Pamela Parker on Facebook in the Appalachian Trail Hikers 2025 Facebook page.
Okay.
It says public service hiker announcement, PSHA, RE wildlife cameras. I found out in a very embarrassing way that wildlife cameras for research exist along the AT. Went off trail to a private spot near Pembroke, Virginia to ... While I was pulling up my shorts, I saw the hidden camera. Could not have been placed at a worse vantage point for me. It says, I've been horrified if I'd seen it on YouTube someday. Hopefully the camera was not working that day. Hike on, friends. And then the very next comment is same thing happened to me on some distant family member's private property. So like I have cameras that are out right now for wildlife to watch for deer, turkey, ducks. I've got those cameras out in different places. And I can only imagine if you're out doing the thing that we always end up talking about at some point on this channel, and there's a trail cam aimed right at the part of you that you don't want shown to anybody. That could be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's tough for everyone involved. The viewer that's gonna eventually pull that memory card
Oh,
out of there and stick it in their computer or their phone, and they're gonna be like, "What the heck?" And the person,
immediate delete. Immediate delete.
yeah, that's a tough one, man. It is a little bit disappointing to me though. I get that they're a necessary thing and you use them for wildlife and there's a place for them. But it is disappointing to me. I feel like there's nowhere I can go. I'm not on camera. Like I work at a public school and there's a million cameras everywhere at public school. Hopefully every public school, you want transparency there. But
Well,
the
and honestly, working at churches, it's the same way now. With all the church shootings over the last several years, every church has had to install cameras everywhere.
yeah,
Um,
church
just for
at
safety of children, just for the safety of children.
yeah, and every store, any store that you're going into, even like just mom and pop, they at least have one over the register. But like, big box stores like Walmart and Kroger, Publix, that kind of stuff, a million cameras everywhere, traffic cameras. I mean, even it's just like everywhere you go. I wish there was somewhere I could go besides my own house where I'm not being recorded on camera. I mean, we got the lake here, but
What I do like is the Great Smoky Mountains. They
mhm,
have a number of cameras that are up, but you can actually see where they are on trail. You know where they are.
that's yeah,
They
transparent would be
they
key.
have it posted, but you can also see the pictures from it, which are some beautiful shots I'm looking at right now. But let me pull up this map just so people can see what I'm talking about. Um, the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, they actually have some cams that they put up, and let you guys look at these real quick. Let's see if these will pop up so you can see them. So if you look at the map, you can see these little spots all over the map. Those are where trail cameras are. And you can see right here going across the middle of this Great Smoky Mountains is the AT. And you can see where there's a couple cameras right here going across the AT.
And how do you see the pictures?
You scroll down and you can
Oh,
click on
okay.
each webcam to see the pictures.
So it's a live view?
I guess we'll click on it and see what happens here.
Yeah, I wonder if it's a live view or like one a day or once a quarter, or they just pick out some good shots and upload them. It's because somebody's running this website.
It's not loading, so uh,
Somebody's running this website poorly.
no kidding.
Maybe it's John
Either
Stock's
way,
internet.
they probably heard we were doing this episode, and so they changed it.
They said we got to sabotage them.
That's right.
Newfound
So
get.
it says the image will refresh in 54 seconds. So I'm not patient enough to wait on that. But as you can see, um, there are webcams out there, but you can also find out where those webcams are. And I would dare say that with this being part of the National Park Service,
Mhm.
I would say each of the national parks probably has a place where you can see those. I'm guessing. I can do some research while we're sitting here and find out.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know. Like I said, I really love the transparency. That's exactly what you want in anything government related. So, but I still, I take a walk in my neighborhood. Everybody's got a Ring camera. Everything's give and take, though, right? If a crime happens, it's going to be caught, but also you're giving up your privacy. So, like, it's two sides of the coin, you know. So you're always on their cameras. Every Tesla has like 100 cameras on it, and so anything that happens whenever the Tesla's around, whether it's parked in the parking lot and somebody hits it, then you got footage, or if a crime happened, you got footage. But it's taking away your privacy. There's always a camera, and I have a feeling that if you have a Tesla, maybe you're not the only one that can access that footage. There's a company involved that you're probably renting cloud space from, if I had to
You
guess.
never know, do you? You never do know.
Big Brother's watching, bro. Is it
Hey,
1984?
I think it is. I think it is. Hey, I'm going to show you something that I think is pretty cool.
Uh,
I went on the National Park Service site, and I don't know if you can see when it comes up here. It's going to pop up on the screen now. Um, Over here to the side of this, you've got a list of all the national parks that have cameras. And it looks like Glacier has 25 cameras. Hawaii Volcanoes has 20. So you can go through and you can click on each national park and check out the cameras.
oh, very cool. I didn't even know this existed.
I didn't either. And it's all of them, man. I mean, we're talking even like the little places. So, um,
Olympic, Grand Tetons. Wow.
I mean, we're talking tons of parks. Mammoth Caves here in Kentucky is in here. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of them in here. I didn't see the Daniel Boone, so I'm wondering if Daniel Boone National Forest has any that they even care about.
Is it only national parks that are on there listed? Or is it
Well, it's the National Park Service, so I would say it's probably national parks on this one.
so
Um,
anywhere that they have like domain over is
yeah,
kind of falling in that category, probably.
yeah, yeah. That's what I would say.
Okay.
But I mean, you can see the list is insane. I mean, just all the places where there are cameras right now.
Well, I can't believe we couldn't find that post, man. I searched on here too on my Facebook and done keywords and everything, couldn't find it. But again, shout out Trail Marshal Hiking. His beard is freaking insane. He must been
Yeah,
using some outdoor beards products because yeah, he looks dude, he looks he looks like a through hiker.
he does. He does. That's for
Lot to
sure.
say. All right, what else you want to talk about here, John?
Well, we've got something else that's fun to talk about. Another thing might tick some people off. Today's like, let's just tick off everybody day. So we're just going to continue with that process. And the Arizona Trail Southern Terminus is blocked by DHS using razor wire. Do
Oh,
you want to talk about that one a little bit?
oh man, we boy, a lot to unpack here.
A
So,
lot to unpack.
so there is this widespread effort for securing the border at the federal level. Yeah, we're just talking objective facts here.
Right,
That's
right.
what's happening. And one of the consequences of that is there was a certain, let's call it, I'm doing air quotations here for the people listening. Let's call it a weak spot in the border. And the weak spot was the southern terminus of the Arizona Trail. So the Arizona Trail, for those that don't know, it's around 800 miles, runs north to south, south to north, across the state of Arizona. Very, very popular trail. The southern terminus is in Mexico. So once that weak spot, again, air quotations, was patched up, it used to just be like basic barbed wire and you could slide through there and everybody wants to get their picture taken with the southern terminus because especially if you've hiked from the northern terminus to the southern terminus instead of starting there, you want that picture because that's your victory lap. You want to like stand
Right,
on the monument.
right.
So I guess what they've done is they patched that up with no longer barbed wire. They put a bunch of razor wire across there, and now I haven't seen pictures of it, but from what I've read, it is dangerous to cross through there. You just can't. You just can't get through it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Razor wire would do a number on you. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah, that's a nasty one. So they got it blocked off, and so now there's been pushback in the backpacking community because you no longer get that reward of making it to the southern terminus. Well, actually, now you can't even get to the southern terminus. You literally have to go to Mexico and then go up to the southern terminus.
Yeah.
So you don't get the reward of getting the southern terminus. And more importantly, you don't get the memory in the form of a picture or a video of you standing there at the southern terminus celebrating your victory lap. So I got mixed feelings on this. I mean, I get the whole, there's a process for immigration in the US and I just don't know who's sneaking through. I guess they want no weak points. Who's sneaking through
Probably.
at the Arizona Trail? That doesn't seem like there's like I don't even think there's any towns around there. It's hard to get to that location on foot or by car if you want to just get picked up.
I almost wonder if it's a preventative measure
Yeah.
since they're shoring up everywhere else, and all it takes is a quick goog, and you can see that the Arizona Trail ends there, and that you can get across pretty easy. And
Yeah. Then
maybe it's more of that.
you kind of blend in. You're coming through and you're like, I'm just a backpacker.
Yeah, I mean that could be it. There's no telling. But like you said, it is a national thing where they are trying to shore up the borders. Um, and they've been really good at it this year about doing that. But yeah, that's that could be a rough spot.
Yeah, but there is good news. And I don't know. I guess this is opinion based, whether you think it's good news or bad news of putting the razor wire there. But just being objective, good news, I wrote here on my notes, the ATA, which I'm assuming stands for Arizona Trail Association.
Association. Yeah.
Um, even though they weren't given notice that this was going to happen, and in my opinion, why would you give notice? Like you,
Right.
you want it to be a surprise if you
Right.
are the Department of Homeland Security. Your job is to not be like, well, just in case you're wanting to cross here, I'm letting you know that in 3 weeks we're going to shore this up. So they're not going to do it that way. They're going to come
Right.
in, and you're going to come to it the next day, and it's going to be done.
Yep.
So, but the good news is that they are, when I say they, I mean the ATA, not the Department of Homeland Security. The ATA is working with the National Park Service to create a new southern terminus. I'm not really sure. I guess it's just in the preliminary stages because it's just happened like around Halloween time.
Well,
So
it'll probably be the easiest southern terminus they've ever had to do. Just do it before the razor wire.
that's what I was going to ask you. Do you
I
think
mean,
that is this an opportunity to take it somewhere quote unquote better than just like the middle of the desert? Or do they keep it the same, stay with tradition and be like, we're going to move this monolith however many feet on the
what
other side of the
terminus is actually good?
well, Katahdin,
I
but
mean,
it is
Katahdin's about it, man. Like, realistically, I mean, even the John Muir Trail, I guess you could, I guess you could say Mount Whitney is the terminus, but like, there aren't a lot of trails that have great terminuses.
yeah, like I had to walk multiple miles to make it to a road once I finished the long trail. You know, you take your picture at the southern terminus, and you're like,
Yeah,
wait a second, I'm 3 miles from the nearest road.
right.
What gives? So you think that they'll just basically scoot it? That'd be the cheapest.
My guess is they're gonna do what they can afford because none of these trail associations are just rolling in the money. You know what I mean? So like, they're probably gonna what they may try and do is get the monolith or the trail terminus thing that they have and get it from Mexico and bring it back over and set it somewhere else. If they can do that. I don't even know if they'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I thought I watched Dixie Homemade Wanderlust's video, and she was talking about like, I mean, you're dealing with desert conditions, so you're having to cache water and stuff anyway. But
Oh
like for
yeah.
her to get to the terminus, she's like the roads were terrible. The like the holes, your car, you're gonna mess it up by taking it out there. So I don't know.
But you know what? Going to the what's the gorge in North Carolina?
Lynn,
The Linville Gorge. Going to the Linville Gorge, some of those roads, go to those parking lots. I'm talking like 3 foot wide, 1 foot potholes all through that road. I mean, it was horrible.
yeah, why aren't they grading those gravel roads?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but they were nasty. I watched the guy. I drove out there when I had my truck, and so I had 4-wheel drive, a jacked up truck. I was no big deal. I saw this dude go flying. He passes me, and he's driving this little like rice burner, like 1993 Subaru or something. Goes flying past me, and I'm like, oh, he's got some holes coming. Doesn't even know it's coming. And he hit one of those holes. His front end shot up in the ground and bounced 2 or 3 times, and then he drove real slow the rest of the time.
Have you seen the compilation videos of the cars? Like there's some roads that are so terrible with these potholes. I'm talking like normal blacktop roads. People will sit, they'll like bring a lawn chair out and they'll sit and they'll record cars passing and hitting the potholes. And dude, the rims on these cars after hitting the potholes.
Yeah.
Oof, there went $600. You're buying a new wheel and you're buying a new
600? You're way undershooting that one. You're probably talking $1,500.
You think for
As
a
someone
new
who had to, I had to replace a rim a couple years ago.
are they that much?
Oh, brother, when you throw in that you're gonna have to get a new tire,
Yep.
and you have to get the new rim,
Yep.
and then you're hoping now, unless you can just put it on yourself, there's no fee to do it.
You're going to take it to a tire shop. They're going to have
Oh
to
yeah.
line
And if you're
it.
gonna get one that matches, you're gonna pay out the nose to get one that matches, or you're gonna have to buy an entire set, which minimum, if you get the cheap rims, you're looking at $1,000.
Yeah, and those probably aren't the greatest of quality. If I had to guess. I'm not a big wheel guy myself. I don't even know what size tires my truck has. I am a save money and drive stock. You know, I'll tell you just how frugal I am, dude. I still have this truck. You got rid of yours.
I didn't have a
My
choice.
yeah,
I drove mine until the frame rusted out. So
well, my frame is rusting out, so I will did I not tell you about this?
no,
I took
because yours. Okay, so people want to know this. Jeremiah and I, for a few years, had the exact same truck. His was black and mine was white. And when I say exact same, I mean the exact same truck.
yeah.
2011 Sierras. Like we
Yeah.
both had GMC Sierras.
Yeah, and I guess the frame, not get too deep in the weeds, I'll give you the short of it. I guess the frames are bad to rust. All those Chevy and GMC trucks.
Okay, between 2009 and 2011 or 12, GMC decided to import Chinese steel to save money on the trucks as opposed to importing steel from here in America, which is
Yeah.
not importing steel. I don't even know why I just said that.
Hard to say, they
Instead
wouldn't
of getting steel from here in the United States, they imported it from China, and the steel rusted. Anybody who has a Chevy or GM truck from that time period will tell you they rusted out. It was terrible, absolutely terrible.
Well, here's what happened. My wife's vehicle needed some work. So I took it into the shop and they said, honestly, this is like a 4 out of 10. I wouldn't fix it until it's about ready to break, and you'll know when it's ready to break. I was like, okay, fair enough. These are the same people that put the new motor in that truck, this truck that we're referring to. I put a new, well, I say new, a remanufactured motor in there, and you're talking around 10 grand, start to finish. So I put this new motor in. Fast forward, my wife's car needs work. They say, okay, bring it back whenever it needs it. And I said, well, I'm going to have them to check my truck out because I'm hearing some popping under my feet. They said, well, it's probably going to be some suspension issues. We'll put it on the lift and check it out. I said, all right, let's do it. So they put it on the lift. They call me. They say, hey, it needs basically all new suspension stuff. I mean, it needs new tie rods. It needs new,
Right.
it needs new coil assembly, all this stuff. Right. And I'm like, okay, here, the cash register's ringing. We're up 2,000, 3,000. I'm like, God, how much money am I going to pour into this truck? We order the parts come in, and then they call me. They're like, hey, we got the parts here. We haven't put them on. I'm like, well, what gives? This truck's supposed to be done this afternoon. They're like, well, this is just my professional opinion. If I was you, and this makes it sound like everything I ask them to do, they don't want to work with me. I realize that as I'm describing this, because I keep sending my vehicle back. They're like, I wouldn't put these parts on. If I was you, I would take a look at the frame of this truck. It needs a new frame. And I'm like, what do you mean? It needs a new frame. They're like, well, it's got some pretty bad rust spots. And they're like, we could take apart this tie rod assembly and this. I don't even remember all the stuff it needed, but they're like, if we break this loose, there's a chance that a piece of the frame's coming with it. And he's like, I give this a 6 out of 10 on how bad, the whatever's wore out, bushings or bearings or whatever. I give it a 6 out of 10. I'd keep driving this if I were you, and get a new frame put on before you done any of this work. And so I jumped through all the hoops to see how could I get a new frame? Where could I get it? How much would it cost to get put on? What about all these other parts? Then I decided, I think I'm done putting money into this truck. God, I've put, you pay $20,000 for the vehicle or 15,000 or however much you pay for it.
Night. Yeah.
And then you put a new motor in it, and then it needs a new frame. And I'm like, okay, well, I think it's just going to be better to save money and just buy a different vehicle. Maybe I think I'm going to get maybe the wife SUV or a minivan and then take her car. But her car has hearts painted down the side. So I'm kind of torn here. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to keep driving.
So you don't want to sell it because it has hearts down the side?
The car?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it'd be worth selling. I think if I sold it, it'd be, $2,000 or $3,000.
Do a trade-in. Just trade it in.
Well, I could trade it in. Yeah, but I actually went to a dealership and I was like, what if I traded in this truck? I had actually both vehicles on me. My wife and I met at the dealership. They're like, okay, for the truck, without even looking at it, we'd give you 1,500. We wouldn't give you any more. They're like, we're going to send it to an auction and then try to recoup our losses. Our money's going to be from you signing this deal. We're going to make money from the bank from the loan, not from this vehicle. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, what about the car? They said, okay, we'll give you 1,000 for the car. Trade it in. I'm like, come on, man. I mean, it's
You know how much I got for my truck?
yes, 17.5, 17.50.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. $500.
$500. Yes.
That vehicle was dying. Like my wife drove it one day and she goes, I'm never driving that again.
Was it limping on her?
Oh, buddy, it was, let's just say if I'd have tried to use the tow hitch, it would have pulled the whole thing off.
Well, he said, you'll know when the frame's totally rusted in too, because it's going to start, you're going to start getting some seesaw action in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, mine, you could put your finger and there's one spot of rust in the frame where I could put 3 fingers in it.
Yeah, there's some parts where I'm really afraid to
It's
tow
not
it.
good.
It's got the tow package and all the
I wouldn't tow a dang thing with it.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think this has pulled its last trailer. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but anyway, long story short, same problems that you're dealing with that truck that you got rid of.
Yep. And it's just what it is. It's no big deal. What are we supposed to be talking about right now?
Okay, let's wrap with this, man. I've been excited to talk about this. So I'm a math teacher. I've been teaching for 11 years at a public school in Kentucky, and I think John and I'll have slightly differing opinions on this. We'll see. We briefly talked off air. There is this school, Morse High School in Bath, Maine, that's assigning, well, they give you the option of either you can have a supervised with parent approval, kind of like a permission slip for a field trip, parent approval to go on a 2 to 3 mile hike near, I don't know if I'm saying this right. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe you can help me out here. Whiskeg Trail, Whiskeg.
That looks about right to me. I'm looking at it right. That sounds about right. Whiskeg.
Yeah, 2 to 4
Whiskeg. Whiskeg, maybe?
Yeah, it says the trail it's near there, and it takes about 2 hours if you want to hike it. And you have a choice. If you do something that deserves detention, then you could either take the detention, depending on the severity, I'm sure, of the infraction. You could either take the detention as a student and sit after school for an hour or 2 hours or however long that school does it for, or you could do this supervised hike where you're assigned a counselor that's going to walk with you, and basically you all are going to walk and talk during the hike. Or I guess you could walk silently and just think about what you did, kind of like sitting in a corner. And all right, John, I'll let you go first. What's your opinion on this? Does it work? Is it a good idea? Would it work for you? Would you have your kids to do it, etc.?
Man, if I was in high school, I'd ask him, how many times am I allowed to do that? And I would just do whatever I want and have to go on punishment. Like, I hated detention. So, like, I never wanted to go to detention. Detention was terrible. You sit in a quiet room and you have work that you're given to do. And it was miserable. Absolutely. It was the reason I stayed out of trouble, because I hated detention. Detention sucked. But if I found out, hey, if you get in trouble, you get to go on a hike, I'd have been like, okay, cool. Let's go. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't, that doesn't sound like a horrible punishment to me. I mean, I guess it would be if you're some kid that hates being outside, but I mean, for me personally, I would have loved that. That would have been great.
Yeah, and just to give a little context, I said that I've worked with, high school students for the last 11 years. And John, in your past, you've worked with youth in different parts of the country, been a youth pastor, a youth minister, worked with youth groups. So
I've worked with community youth programs. Yeah.
Yeah, and you might not I guess there's a lot of hats that you have to wear whenever you're doing one of those jobs. But me, I have to be a disciplinarian a lot. And it's really, as a teacher who's actually
working with teens, you always have to be a disciplinarian. There's no getting around it.
It's the worst. It's probably the worst part of working at a school is being the disciplinarian, because if you're passionate about it, and the whole reason that I'm a teacher is because I want to elevate our community. You only have so much control. And the only the only things in your sphere of control are typically going to be in your community. It's not going to be National Park Service, fees.
Right.
It's so the one thing you can do to help change is to pour into your community,
Mhm.
whether that's local school board meetings or council or whatever, local government. So I hate being the disciplinarian. So I've had to deal with this a lot, and it's a necessary evil. You got to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend on the kid. It's going to be individual basis. But I think generally speaking that the game may have changed, John. I'm not saying it's left you behind. I'm not saying you don't have experience. I don't want to discredit anything you've done.
Even though you're doing that as you say this, but go ahead.
I'm actively
I thought you're actively go ahead though. Keep going.
gaslighting John.
You probably should have gone about that differently, but keep going.
Everybody observe my soft language here. So anyway, my point is that I try to approach it on an individual basis. It's the way that it works at our public school is the less severe infractions are usually like a lunch detention.
Right.
So the student will pick up their lunch and take it to a room and do what you said. They're separate.
Right.
It's quiet. They have to work. For example, if they're tardy 3 times to class, then they get 3 days of lunch detention. But if they're tardy a 4th time, then they have a day of in-school suspension, which is like an alternate placement. And if they're
Right.
tardy a 5th time, the punishment keeps getting more and more severe.
Right.
So for this example, you always want to get to the root of the problem. And oftentimes it's outside of your control. A kid is sleeping in class because his home life is rough and he's not getting enough sleep, or the parents aren't making him go to bed, or maybe it's totally outside their control and it's insomnia. It's a case by case basis.
Right.
But I try to start with a conversation and then go from there. And most of the time, they're not going to open up to you. And it takes a long time of building rapport. So I look at it as more of an opportunity. I think that if you did have this option of doing the hike and they're forced to talk with somebody who they would be willing to open up to, that the catalyst is the environment. And I think that
I don't think it's the punishment that bothers me.
okay, say more.
It's the choice of you get to pick your punishment. Nowhere in the world as an adult do you get to pick your punishment. You're teaching something that's unrealistic to the kids. Now, if you want to make that the punishment, that instead of sitting in a detention, you're going to go on this detention hike, yeah, that's great. But the problem is you're teaching kids, and we're doing this a lot with things. Mm-hmm. We're letting kids, and not your school necessarily, but a lot of schools, you got kids who don't have to really do any work to just pass. And so now they have this high school diploma that they can go in and they can go to colleges. And you've got colleges complaining that students are coming in who have a high school diploma and can't read.
Well, if that's true, that's a problem because
but you get
whole nation.
I think it's a systemic issue of we're not necessarily preparing kids for the real world like we used to. And I'm saying that in a broad sense, not in a specific sense necessarily, but in a broad sense. And so when you're telling kids you pick your punishment, how does that work in the real world?
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, but
I don't have a problem with I don't have a problem with the hikes being a thing. I do know if I got to choose, I'm choosing that every time because that's way better than being stuck in a room.
That's true.
I can say whatever that person wants me to say. I can fill their head full of stuff that makes them feel like, oh, he's really growing and he's getting better. Now, I'm not saying other kids won't share realistically, but if I'm choosing, I'm always going to choose that. But if you just want to make that the punishment, that's fine. I think the issue is a different kind of issue that comes down to in the real world, you don't get to go to your boss and say, hey, I don't want to work next week. And he's like, oh, well, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll either cut your pay for this or you have to work an extra 3 days next week. Yeah. That's not how that works. They don't tell you that. So it's for me, it's more the whole choice of your punishment. I don't think that's a wise move for the future of these kids. Not so much the hike thing. I think the hike thing is kind of funny, but I don't have a problem with it. I just think it's kind of funny because it doesn't sound like a punishment to me. But the fact that they choose it, that I guess that's where my issue is.
Okay, well, I don't want to muddy the waters here,
Oh, buddy.
but I do think there's some nuance. I think that, and by the way, John and I do love each other. We are friends.
Fine. We're fine.
Yeah. So I just want the listeners to be wholeheartedly aware that whenever we log off of here, we are still going to be happy and friends.
Oh, no, we're going to curse each other out. It's going to be awful.
This is the end of the show.
We're done. We're so done.
Yeah. And I think that this is good, healthy debate. Iron sharpens
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, if you can't defend your position, a lot of times it's a weak position. So instead of telling people to shut up, you converse, which is exactly what we're doing. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I do think there's some nuance to it. I think that I like where your argument's going on preparing kids for the real world, because that's literally the point of school, right? Is to pour in to the kids so that whenever they leave there, they have a sense of community. They feel like there are actual people that love and care about them, but also they're prepared content wise. They're prepared either like if they have a direction for the future, maybe they're wanting to go into welding, they could leave with a certification. So they have a step toward a successful career, and like they're getting their foot in the door to hopefully project themselves toward a happy life. Or maybe they're going an academic route and they're going to be, a civil engineer, and they've taken 3 college math classes in high school that's already got them a leg up on. It'll free up some bandwidth, for lack of a better term, in college, so that they can, exercise their focus in their other topics. That helps excel, helps propel. I mean, I should have said their skills in that area.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do like where the argument is preparing for the real world. I get it, but I think there's more to it. I think that it's hard. It's hard to apply something for all cases. And my problem isn't picking the punishment. Authenticity is an issue, like you said, and the proof is in the pudding. So that's why I took it a step further, and I was like, what are the results of what this school is doing in Maine? And of course, there's going to be mixed results. There's some people it's going to be harder to reach than others. Some kid you're going to take on this hike, they're going to be absolutely miserable. They're going to hate you at the end. Or maybe they'll do like you said and just fill you full of nonsense, and then they're just going to get in trouble again. And there's some that you're really going to have a connection with, and there's some that won't jive.
You're gonna have different kinds of results through the whole thing.
Right. It don't really matter what they pick, even if you assigned it.
Right.
But I think there's a lot more that we can say on it that we probably won't say. But I do want to know what you got your detention for, if you're willing to share it.
Which one?
Oh, how many times did you get detention?
I knew the principal really well.
Oh, this is the side of John that we have not seen on the podcast.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If you haven't picked up on this podcast, I like to talk.
He's a big talker, folks.
And if you haven't also picked up on this podcast, I have opinions. And I'm not too afraid to share what my opinions are. And I wasn't afraid to do that in high school either. And sometimes that made teachers a little mad. And so my mouth got me in trouble quite a bit. So, like I said, I would take that hike every time. I'd talk to whoever. I'm down with talking. I've always been able to talk. That's my son. And the funny thing is, my son is the exact same way.
What's he do?
Oh, he never stops talking.
Oh, little Jack.
Never stops talking. And so I guarantee he gets that from me, because my wife, Rhea, she can sit and not say a word for hours and be happy.
Yeah.
I am not that person.
I'm not that person either.
I'm just not that person. So it was my mouth, and I could be a little rebellious to what was being told to me. And yeah, so my mouth got me in trouble quite a bit. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Let me tell you mine real quick. We'll wrap with this. I've talked before, a big time nerd, doing science Olympiad, competing in science competition and stuff. So I didn't get in trouble a ton. But there was one time I got the in-school suspension. And the worst part is that if you get in-school suspension and you play a sport, there's even more consequences.
Oh, so,
yeah. I'll make it quick. I recruited this guy to play kicker for us. He was from Sweden. His name was Philip Hillhammer. If you're listening to this, Philip.
What a name.
I know, bro. I said he's a perfect
He's a kicker and he's the hammer. Come on.
hammer, bro. The Swedish hammer.
Hammer.
Yeah, so he was a foreign exchange student from Sweden. Philip came over here. I become friends with him. Totally different lifestyle. European, all skiing. He's a rich boy, Philip. And I said, dude, you got to play kicker for us. You're like a soccer guy. You'd be perfect fit, and we don't have a kicker. We're going for 2. So he's like, all right. We talked to the coach. Coach tried him out. He's like, you're on the team. Fast forward, we're like halfway through the season or something. You practice every day. Well, he said, hey, do you want to go with me to buy a pop? And I was like, buy a pop? He's like, yeah. I was like, where are you going to get a pop at, man? At the time, you got to keep in mind, at the time, this was like 2010. This was like Michelle Obama era. So they got rid of every soda, every vending machine, anything in a public school that was like considered junk food, gone. Overnight, just Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all the machines taken out. Before, you could go in and get whatever you wanted. Little Debbie cakes.
When I was in high school, they had a smoking section for teenagers.
The times changed.
Well, let's just keep going.
So I could harp all day on this, the food nutrition stuff. Anyway, he said, well, I got a secret spot. I was like, okay, what is it? He's like, well, if you go in the lunchroom, on the left when you walk in, there's a teacher's lounge. I was like, mm-hmm. He said, there's a Coca-Cola machine in there. I said, okay. All right. He said, come on, let's go. So we went in, go into the lunchroom, open the door, look around, nobody in there. Good to go. Well, he buys his pop. I had stopped drinking soda. I hadn't drank a soda in 2 years at this point. Didn't even want a soda. He bought him Coca-Cola or whatever. We leave. We're walking out the door. Oh, my high school English teacher. We slipped by her, bro. Can't make this up. True story. Her name's Miss Sloan. Miss Sloan, I had her for 3 English classes. Really got along with Miss Sloan. Even took college English in her class. And no problem. We get to practice. Guess who had spent the rest of the day in in-school suspension? Oh, Philip Hillhammer. I'm like, what happened, man? He's like, I got written up for being in the teacher's lounge. He's like, where were you? I was like, I don't know anything what you're talking about. Well, when you get written up, you know who the in-school suspension teacher is? Our head football coach. He's the guy sitting in there looking at you, steaming, bald head, sweat coming off of it.
Oh man.
Yeah. And he's legendary, man. At my high school, they named the field after him once he retired. So he makes you do like, it's a bear crawl, but you have to hold a like tackle dummy on the ground and slide it like the length of the football field, like basically gashers back and forth. It's a conditioning exercise.
With a sled?
Well, no, not a sled. Like, you know, you have the pads. It's kind of a trapezoid.
Oh yeah. Okay. I got you now. I thought you were talking the sleds. I'm like, huh?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if it's a steel sled with nobody on it, that'd be tough.
That'd be awful.
So you're bending over, you got your legs, but you're pushing down on this pad and sliding it across the ground. Yeah. So you're doing a bear crawl, but without using your arms. You're holding this pad. And so you got to do that basically until they tell you to stop. And Philip had to do it. And so we come into school the next day, and one of my other teammates had convinced him to go to the principal and tell the principal that I didn't get written up, even though I was in there with him. And the principal called me into his office, and he's like, hey, is this true? And I was like, yeah, it's true. I mean, I can't lie about it. There's cameras everywhere. Even in 2010, there were cameras everywhere.
Right.
So he says, well, we're going to have to put you in school suspension the rest of the day. My first time ever in there. And it's exactly what you described. You're sitting there, you're bored, you just have to work, you're nobody to talk to, no computer, technology, nothing, sitting there, paperwork. And then I get to football practice, and I get to do those. And I got to say, I won't tell you what I did in retaliation to old Philip, but I will tell you this. He has no idea that there's even any retaliation. Only I know. And it did involve his mouthpiece. And I'll leave it at that. I won't go.
With that said, folks. Okay, this has been a great episode. Dang. maybe that's a story we could talk about after we get off the air here, and you can fill me in on that one a little bit.
Yeah, we could do off air on that one. Yeah,
We'll do off air on that one. But for myself and for Jeremiah, thank you guys for tuning into the Backpacking Podcast. We will catch you on the next one.